Once again, welcome back. It's the DAYBREAK Africa features tuned in, reaching from studio saying on those city and Ezekiel Ogar. This morning we have Felix, Ijeh in the house as we discuss food insecurity. You know, there has been declared a state of emergency as to food security in Nigeria, which is quite a topic. We've had a rise in inflation, rise in poverty, rise in unemployment, and now even food is more like a topic to actually discuss now. Quickly, the food security situation in Nigeria has been critical in recent times, with 17 million people estimated to be critically food insecure in 2022, which is the latest update. An estimated 25 million Nigerians are likely to be food insecure between June and August of 2023. Now, there's just plenty to talk about when it comes to food security and security in Nigeria. Look for us, we have an Economist in the house, person of Felix. Ijeh, once again, welcome on DAYBREAK Africa.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here.
Very good morning to you.
I've not eaten. So, insecurity is everywhere. But food insecurity, I think, is the worst.
I think I was listening to Ezekiel and he was talking about increase. But when I vividly listen, I see that most of the increase are coming in a very negative way. Sure. Now, talking about food insecurity, that one is another thing. Now, talking about the state of emergency, when it's been declared on a certain thing, especially now, let's say food in a nation, what effect does it have on citizens and especially also on the economy of the country?
Okay, ordinarily, once a state of emergency is declared, that means attention should be paid to that sector. So when you hear of food insecurity and the state of emergency declared, first, everybody have to pay attention to it. Resources has to be reallocated to cater for that sector. Then proper legislation that will actually address those issues has to come up. The sector involved will need facilities, both credit and supply of inputs necessary to revamp the system. And again, those ones that are worst hit that need emergency response need to be addressed. So those are that is what a state of emergency is all about. Okay. Therefore, food insecurity generally, as is declared, that means it has been recognized that people are hungry. Not just hungry, even the little ones that are taken, they are not taking the right one. So when you are talking of insufficiency, you are talking of the quantity available and the quality also available. The quality is not there, the quantity is not there. So that is a major one. Then we have to look back. What is our source of food? There is a short supply. Why is there short supply? Conflicts all over, weather condition, the climate affecting the system, policy issues too affecting output. You talk of infrastructural facilities, moving food resources, the little one available, moving it from farm and taking it to where people can access it. That's a major one. Then you also talk of what is it called now? Markets, accessibility to market. Even those ones that have it, to take it to market where others can buy from it, it become an issue. Again, considering the output quality. So all these ones are things that surround food problems in Nigeria, and these are major reasons why there is a declaration of emergency.
Okay, well said about a lot of things. You spoke about the output and the rest, but I'm very much interested and keen on the policy which you made mention of. When you're talking about policy, I want to understand the external and the internal factors. I want to understand the policy in what angle that affects food security.
Okay, when you talk of policies that affect food insecurity, you talk of financial policies, that is availability of credit. To some extent, how well are the farmers getting credit facility? So what nature of policies are guiding such? At a time when there is major crisis situation like that, the federal government can discuss with the central bank. Central bank can give special allocation to the agricultural sector so that they will revamp the system. The other policy, trade-related policies too, which include like what happened during Buhari regime, the earlier days, when he banned importation of some food products, so that we will be able to produce, we'll be encouraged to start producing. That's another policy on one side. Then you talk of policy related to marketing. That is opening up access to markets. You know, most food, before you have it, you go to local markets. Most foods in Nigeria is not what you can get from supermarkets and all those. You go to local markets to access it. How many, the maintenance of those markets, availability and accessibility of the markets, we also mean availability and accessibility to those foods. Again, you talk of policies relating to preservation, like establishment of silos, talking of stock of foods that federal government have to save out in case of emergencies. So those are guided by policies too. These are the different policies that surround it. What this implies now is that most of these policies, they are not working as they are supposed to be. The silos we are talking of, where are they? Storage facilities, do we have it? Output that is from the farms. Those ones that produce, that go to the farm to harvest, where do they store it so that if they can't sell today, they'll be able to access it? Then if those ones that are perishable, how do they preserve it? So most of these policies is not working as expected, therefore it's not affecting, or it's not the output expected is not turning up. In that case, this state of emergency becomes very necessary so that there will be a re-evaluation of the existing policies.
Now, I tend to wonder, when it comes to food security, we have certain factors actually around the issue of food security. We have a rising inflation, we have rising poverty, we have rising unemployment. Are these challenges we could actually tackle, or has food insecurity actually come to stay at this point or in the long run?
Food insecurity, the major need of every human being is food. Once you are well fed, your problem is half solved. So then the major, now with inflation, with shortage in output, with a lot of challenges, the major concern of every Nigerian is food. Where there is no food, insecurity will come in. Not only food insecurity, but social crisis will have to come up, because people have to eat first before anything. Then where there is no food, it leads to health challenges. Where there is no food, it will lead to reduction in human capital. How it affects human capital is that where there is food insecurity, feeding the children become very difficult. And when they are not well fed, their education is affected, their learning and their capacity to retain is affected. That means in future, we are going to grow youths that are not capable of handling the system. So a lot of issues surrounding food insecurity. Then we now ask, has food insecurity come to stay? No, it has not come to stay if we do the right things. Every time we talk of growing what we eat, growing what we eat. Sometimes if you look back to the early 80s, the 90s, when we started having all these Indomie products, you know, every spaghetti now is Indomie. So we eat it a lot. Then we should be asking ourselves questions. What is the raw material? What is the source? Everything we consume, we should be asking of the raw materials. Where do we get it? If we can think about that, then we go back to the source, and that is farming. We go back to the source. If you need food, even if you want to eat processed food, it's gotten from somewhere before it is processed. We have arable land in Nigeria, very wide arable land. We have the sea all around. So we have a lot of, like in Nigeria now, we have different regions, the north, the south. We have peculiar characteristics as related to farm input and output. You have the cereals mainly in the north. You have the plantation agriculture in the west and the south. You have, in fact, every region, they are known for something. Then we have the central, that is the Benue region, the Kogi. This one encompasses both the characteristics in the north and the south, everywhere. So that is why they are called the food basket. So in it, if you look at these ones, you talk of how to harness the economic gain from this food and feeding. Once you're able to harness it by looking at the agricultural practices, looking at what you can use to boost it, like replenishing the soil, the nutrients, talking of the fertilizer, etc. Then you talk of input, farm input. Then you talk of research into agriculture to bring about improved varieties that will have a very short gestation period in order to bring about boost in our output. Also, recently we have a lot of technology that we can use to boost agriculture. Other economies are already embracing. we should embrace it too. To the extent that other economies have started growing their meat, you know, they culture their meat. Over time, I pray that we'll be able to buy into such technologies. And
now, my major reason for actually asking this question is I know the contributing factors for food security, like I said, has to do with unemployment, has to do with poverty, has to do with inflation. Now, if we claim food insecurity has not come to stay, how do you think we'll tackle unemployment, inflation, poverty all at once? You know, let's say in the span of 8 years or maybe 10 years. I'm not really seeing that possibility.
Let me tell you that if you fight food problem, you will create employment. If you fight food problem, you stop insecurity. A lot of people go into restiveness as a result of hunger. Why, if you go to some developed economies, you see that rate of this theft and all this form of burglary is very low. The type of organized crime you have there is different from what we have here now, stealing food and all those things. You know, once a system that want to feed itself will generate what they consume. So when we want to fight unemployment, we have to go back to a major employer of labor. Now we know that we need food. Don't you think that if a lot of us go back to think of how to bring up this food, then labor a lot of labor will be needed. Then the government coming up with policies and supplying credit facilities instead of just giving us what we are going to use to buy food and the food is not available. By the time all these policies start coming up, eventually a lot of people will be employed. So you can't just tackle unemployment from the air. You tackle unemployment by strategizing and creating investment activities that will generate output based on human effort, not just a transfer of funds to them. So food insecurity can be solved if we look inward, and at the same time, as we look inward, once we start generating, eventually employment will increase. Our fear is that the rate of population growth is faster than the rate of our food output. Just like Thomas Matos of the Economist mentioned that the food, that is, a population is growing geometrically, while food output is growing arithmetically. That over time, the growth in population will overtake totally the growth in food output. Eventually, it will result in natural disasters to reduce the population. Well, I pray we will not get to that stage, but I think what we need is to leave much of asking for too much. Let's talk of feeding ourselves. You know, if we talk of feeding ourselves, policies that will guide us, then we'll be able to feed ourselves even from our soil with the right policies and the right direction.
All right. You made mention of feeding ourselves, which is a thing of interest to me. But you also made mention of the early days of the past administration.
Yeah.
The likes of Operation Feed the Nation and the rest, bringing agriculture back, not just looking at the oil sector alone. But we are also well aware that we have series of insecurity issues. The herdsmen attacking our farmers, especially the Benue, which you made mention of. Most farmers couldn't really go on with their works, their farming and the rest. All those things are there. We have unemployment, as Ezekiel has rightfully said, which he also said if we could be able to tackle food, we'll be able to tackle everything, just like one, and we'll be able to do everything, which is a thing that we have been hoping, if it's always an if, we've not gotten a headway. Now, talking about lives and property, we understand that insecurity has been there. Talking about low output, we understand that these are problems that we are facing in Nigeria. Outside these things, what are the other factors that causes food insecurity in the nation?
Okay, I think you've mentioned a lot of them. A major one that you did not mention is climatic condition. Changes in climate affect food output seriously. Like if you check over there in the south, farmers are supposed to have season of farming when harvest will come close to from September, October. But in the south, this is the period that you have a lot of flood coming in. So you see people planting and harvesting their plants even when it's not due. I've seen a lot of farmers. I've talked to a lot of my friends there that have their farm. that once it's around November, they will tell you that their farm has been taken over by flood, and actually it will destroy everything. Those ones that have poultries, you can't have poultry when there is flood everywhere. The animals are decimated, you know. In fact, totally threw them into total hunger. That is a major one. A major crisis point, a major cause of food insecurity is the nature of education we are having too. Because education is a pivot on which a lot of other things hinge on. The nature of education, the focus we have in all the universities in Nigeria, I think it's only Landmark that is agricultural based. When I say agricultural based, Landmark University is a private university owned by the Winners Chapel. They are agricultural based. No matter the course you are doing, you do 1 year agriculture. So a lot of them that graduate from there, they will have interest in agriculture. Even if you are into technology, we talk of technology related to agriculture. If you are into whatever you are doing, if you are into if you come out as a mechanical engineer, you would like to work on those things that will generate implements or equipments that could be used in agricultural practice. That's something that we need to embrace. We'll go back to start embracing. That is a major challenge. Another very major challenge is our orientation made that we don't want to consume local food. The food we consume ordinarily that is supposed to be the best, they will say it's local. Foreigners are coming to look for our food. We are going to look for processed food. If you ask somebody now, if anybody want to eat now, you see, if you see somebody taking mango, oranges, these are the things we have. They will be looking at you as if you are suffering. They want you to go to a supermarket to buy a can of orange flavored, not the orange per se. So eventually, we ignore what will give us our nutrients. There is one of my friends I was discussing with, what he mentioned, a medical doctor. He said God is so kind that for every need of a man, God has fruits for the season to cure the ailments that will come. So if you are within the rainy season, there are some foods that come up within the rainy season. If you consume them well, you won't be sick. If you get to the dry season, there are some foods that are available. The fruits, local fruits, you consume them, it will scare away or take you far from sickness. So these things, we don't consume them. Our local food, the soup we are supposed to, we are not eating it. We want to look for the one that we are going to buy to season from somewhere else, and at the end it will cause sickness. All these are problems. Once we start considering the fact that our food will become our medicine, and it is better we get it from the source and local environment, you see us consuming a lot of things. Let me shock you. Let me give you an instance. During the war, we're told, especially in the East, when they became food starved, you know, when you remove food from somebody, you have almost killed them. So when they remove food from them, when they were not supplying food, they started practicing checking on different vegetables. That is why till today, if you go to the East, they have varieties of vegetables they consume, and they use it as delicacies. These are vegetables, these are plants that were existing there that people were not practicing. So if you check around your environment, we have food. We have things that can serve as food. Just for us to culture and nurture it in a better environment, we consume it. Once we start consuming, others will start seeing us consuming. Then eventually we'll start consuming it.
Okay.
Go to supermarkets, you see packaged green leaves and all those things from China. We have our green leaves, we have a lot of them here. We are not packaging it. We are not even boiling it to take, yet we are buying from outside.
All right.
Those are problems.
On that, although I've seen they say, we said all food, all fruits can be medicine, but all medicine cannot be food, which is well said.
Yeah.
Now, going back, you made mention of the climatic factor that can also be a problem. But I want to believe that in a same environment, in the same farming system, just like you are going into business, when you want to feed a nation, when you want to produce, you are supposed to do your feasibility study. You're supposed to have a foresight about, okay, what can possibly happen. Are we not supposed to see all these things like, okay, yeah, the climatic situation of this also place can be like this in a matter of time to come, so that we can make, because made mention of silos, saving for the future when you will have drought and the rest. These are things that are supposed to be in place. Why are we not practicing it? At the end of the day, we are languishing in food insecurity in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's good. Your question is very good. Why are we not practicing it? Then let me ask, how many mechanized agriculturists do we have in Nigeria? Most people that practice agriculture are mainly subsistence. Not just those ones that go commercial is within the local environment. So they don't have the resource. We have been having issue with supplying credit, funding for agriculture has been a major problem. Let me shock you. If a farmer goes to a bank to borrow money, they won't give the farmer money easily. They will not. Because what they are going to ask for as collateral, the farmer does not have it. So, but the big farmers, we also have the issue of risk and uncertainty. Then because of that, they may not give. Until there is a very good legislation. Once there is a good legislation, and also an attention paid, like CBN did one thing one time, that they passed through microfinance banks to supply or give tickets to farmers. They use the ticket to purchase fertilizers at a cheaper rate. That is a direct assistance. So if they do more of that, and again they talk of supplying improved seedlings, that one will be very good. What you made mention of, like the issue of climatic condition, the meteorologists will tell you there's going to be heavy rain and there may be overflow. They will give you warning. If after warning and you do not follow up to help those people, your warning, what effect will it be? Meteorologists will tell you water will be flowing down from November or October. Everybody should be mindful. Communities will be sacked. But have you made available? Individuals may, there are some projects that are so capital intensive that individuals may not be able to handle immediately. So they need an organized system where even farmers can be brought together and helped at the same time. Individual farmers may not be able to help themselves. Another instance, look at Obasanjo Farms. He's a very big farmer, so he can plan. There are some things he can avoid. But a small farmer in my village may not be able to plan like him because he does not have the resources. So those farmers, those ones that are in the villages, are the ones supplying food. If you go to the road, you see trucks moving from the east, from the north, going to urban centers. These things are from the villages, deep villages, gathering them, and they are from small farmers. So planning, we need proper policy and implementation process.
So is it safe to say a government that say they want to look into securing the food unit, the food production unit of a country, they're not supposed to look into this? What about communication? Because most of these farmers, which you said, it's possible that they are not even literate. They might not really get the information first, and they don't know about climatic change, whatever. It's just what they feel like, okay, it's going to be rainy season, it's going to be dry season, and the rest. They don't have this information. Do you think the government are really doing enough in this aspect?
If they've done enough, the changes would have shown. Really, they've not really done enough, and we just pray that to me, the best way to culture and nurture agriculture is by going closer to the people through the wards and through the local government. Policies made at the center from Abuja, Minister of Agriculture may not have impact on the local farmers, but a supervisory councillor on agriculture in the local government will have a better impact when they are well informed about what agriculture is, because some supervisory councillors they don't even read agriculture, they don't even know much about it, they don't even go to farm, they don't understand what it's all about. So until we are better informed, they know what the people do and how to help them, the policy may not really work out very well. So the government, I would say they are trying, but what is the impact? We need to do more. We need to do more. If government want to improve agriculture from the local government area, they will talk of land allocation.
Of course.
Then apart from that, they will talk of extension workers, agri-extension workers visiting farmers right in their villages. These extension workers will go there to discuss with farmers farmers direct. Extension worker from Abuja cannot visit somebody in my village, but from the local government knows the route, the farm route to follow in order to meet those people right in their farm and enhance their farm. Gradually, if we're able to enhance our output from household to household, eventually the nation will have a bigger food basket.
And now, Global Economic Outlook reports for the first half of 2023 this year estimated unemployment rate in Nigeria at the end of 2022. What did I just say? Okay. And now, globally, Economic Outlook reports that the first half of 2023 estimated unemployment rate in Nigeria at the end of last year was at 37.7%, while estimating a rise to 40.6% in 2023. Now, at this point, we have 43%, estimated 43% in 2024. Now, also note that the unemployment rate has risen from 23.1% in 2018 to 33.3% in 2022, which is last year. Now, I tend to wonder, we know this government has been one with lots of policy and implementation lately, but the truth is are we probably expecting a radical change, or are we going on a slow move?
Okay, the unemployment rate that is growing, a lot of factors contribute to it. A lot of factors contribute to unemployment growth rates. When there is a policy somersault, or when there is a policy that is not properly managed, that result to some factories closing down, some small-scale businesses unable to manage their expenses because of especially increase in inputs. I mean, apart from raw materials, we talk of other inputs, which include like the purchase of diesel, cost of communication, etc. So people are unable to cope, and a lot of people are thrown back into the labor market. It will take time for policy to actually take proper effect, but that does not mean that we are going to defend problems associated with policies that are coming up with the current government or previous government. We are still in a crisis situation. The crisis is really a serious one, telling on us unemployment is contributing to poverty. Poverty is contributing to food insecurity. So it's a circle. A poor man cannot generate food, and if he's unable to generate food, his poverty will increase. So those are the problems we are just passing through. I wanted to say I will pray. There is no need to continue to pray. We should be talking of we need to work. We need to work it out. Very many people now have stopped eating there is not like 3 square meal again, because you can't square anything again. Even to eat twice is a problem. You eat once. Some people, you skip your breakfast. You have to skip your breakfast. Make sure you eat when the sun is up. That is around noon, so that at night, even if it's water you are able to take, you sleep again. Your fasting period get longer. Instead of 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., you're now from noon this day to noon next day, and our body is getting used to that, getting used to the suffering of the period. But as long as there's unemployment increasing, then the few ones that are employed, their productivity will continue to dwindle because the pressure on them has increased. There was a time I made mention of the addition of unemployment rate and inflation rate is referred to as some really misery, the misery of the people, how people are feeling the misery. The misery level in Nigeria has increased. What is the inflation rate? By 24, 25, unemployment rate getting to 40. If you put it together, you have 60 something. That means out of 100%, what you have is about 30 something. With the implication of that is that whatever thing you are doing, you only have 30 something % reward to your effort. That is the reason why a lot of people are running away from the country. The effort you put in here, that will give you 30 something %. If you go elsewhere, it will give you 100%. There is pressure and there is problem everywhere.
All right, we are out of time now. Your last word I want to tell the general public, seeing us now, the viewers now, talking about cost of living, the standard of living not really getting to the right standard. Buying power is really low in Nigeria. Productivity is low, and the demand for the goods and services are very high. What are your last words to the general public on how to maintain and be able to curb this food insecurity?
The only advice I will give is that while we check around, we should be conscious of what to eat. Look out for local products. It's not the price you pay, it is the effect it will have on your body. Let's consume our local products instead of going for a lot of conflicts, using a dollar to purchase conflicts. We have our gari that is there, which is possible. Yes, if you check every region, every culture, they have their delicacy, their food, and those food they get it cheaper than what they will get if they want to consume from outside. Let's look around, let's eat what we have around. And again, I will advise strongly too, for every home we can practice agriculture. For those that don't have land, I think agricultural scientists have come up with that. You can even plant on a bag. We just put sand together, plant. Then those in agriculture too, research and development, they should help us with research. We need improved varieties so that our output will be coming up in a shorter period instead of waiting for a longer period to harvest.
All right, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Viewers, I'm very sure you've heard and you've learned. Most importantly, try to eat good food, try to eat things that are made in our Nigeria. Let's push our own trade. Let's be able to be our own #1 fan of our own goods and services in Nigeria. And I'm very sure everything will come to work and everything will come in the right place for us. From us here, we'll be handing over to our Lagos studio, which we believe they have more wonderful package to give to you. I remain Michael Obagiri.
Do have a wonderful day today. I remain Ezekiel Ogar.